Mike, that is how you do it, mate. Welcome to the latest TAT pod, guys. If you watched the last one that we did, well, I say I wasn't there, but Mike had the keys and he forgot the intro, but he did an absolutely brilliant job. I watched it on the flight home from Karlsruhe. They put these on the seats, so I bought one home. It's going to go up there somewhere eventually. I don't know where, but how are we doing, guys? Yes, we're going to get straight into it. Farhan Nunez was on fire, absolutely. But before we do get into it, please make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out our sponsor, Your Foot Card. Link down below in the description. They use 15% off if you use TAT Pod at checkout. You can get any Liverpool player, you can get any player, past, present. You can get yourself if you think you're a bit of a baller. Put your stats on there, match yourself out, and yeah, that is one of the old ones on my wall, but they're much better than that now. Yeah, make sure you show the guys some love. They are amazing with us. They've done absolutely fantastic. So, boys, I'm back. How are we doing, Mike? What are you saying?
Devastated you're back. Honestly,
I am, to be fair. This country.
I think I speak for everyone. No, to be honest, I'm glad you're here because we need someone to actually direct this. When
it was, I know what I'm doing.
Hey, you know more than me, bro. I'll tell you now. Also, just a little insight behind the curtain. I now have access, and I'm not logged out, mate. So I can end the broadcast whenever I want. Yeah, all the power. No, mate, I'm doing well.
Put a comment on the screen then, right now.
Wait, okay.
Can you actually do that?
Yeah, watch. Boom. Oh wait, hold on. Put a comment on the screen. Yeah, watch this.
Yeah.
Boom. Look at that.
God. Right. Okay.
I've got all the power.
This is bad news. This is bad. Anyway,
yeah, this is
we'll
great
deal with
news
this later.
But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm feeling good. I'm very tired, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I know the feeling. And Elliot, what are you saying, mate? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Excited to see how far Mike's going to last this because you can already see his eyes going.
Just when you talk, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike having the keys is, wow, that scares me. But big up, guys. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the stream right now, smash subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna get straight into this best account. There we go. You know what? Actually, it's kind of nice not having to... Mike, you carry on, mate. You do what you want to do. Let's get into it. We have to talk about the defense. We will get onto that. We will talk about the second half team, but let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the team that started the game. Mike, I'm assuming all three of us are at work when the lineup comes out. We don't really care about the lineup in preseason, but let's just talk about it first off, mate. How was it for you?
Yeah, I like it. I must admit, I'm a big fan of Bradley. I really am. So when I see his name in the lineup, I get very excited. I enjoyed the fact that it seems to be Jota, McAllister, Diaz as this like little link up three, maybe Gakpo in there as well. And then Nunez and Salah seem to play separately to these at the moment, which is quite interesting. Doak in the first half, fantastic. You know, like it was great seeing him, you know, in the 11 as well. Trent in the 6, we know that's a placeholder for now, or at least we think so. So, yeah, it's interesting. We played the better 11 in the first half, without a doubt. It was a stronger 11 in the first half, but we also played the inverted fullback in the first half, and then more of a classic 4-3-3 in the second. I think that showed in a lot more areas than one. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting that Doak started, to be fair, because it was clearly to see that it was like the kids in the second half. So, I mean, we all know how, big statements. We all know he's highly thought of anyway. I thought that was an even bigger thing. And then it's almost like, you know, first lot of pre-season, you probably see the kids maybe more, but he's gone with the strong, like, 11, if that makes sense. I know Salah and Nunez weren't starting, but, like, it's interesting to see that he's gone with that straight away. It's almost like he's not messing about. He wants these players ready and, like, fit for Chelsea, basically, which is obviously the case, but you know what I mean? It was straight in.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree with everything you guys have just said. And let's just get to the first goal, because there's been a lot of talk about this guy on social media over the last week or week and a half. You know, Saudi, I can't remember what club it is, but supposedly there's been interest from a Saudi club, and people have said, we'll get this for him, we'll get that for him. But Mike, when you see Luis Diaz, and look, I know the opposition is not great, but when you see Luis Diaz score a goal like that, to me, I don't know about you, but he's the only forward we have that is like that can do that. You know what I mean? Like he offers to me something completely different to everybody else, which is why I said if it was down to me, I wouldn't sell him this summer for any price. But obviously, every player has a price. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Luis Diaz, mate, on that goal?
Well, listen, I agree wholeheartedly. I think what Diaz brings, he brings a similar sort of energy to what Mane brought, which is the unpredictability, the running at the fullback, and that technical brilliance as well, which is not something that I'd probably say most of our forwards have. I think they're all technically brilliant, but to run one-on-one and just take on a player consistently throughout 90 minutes, Salah does it. Other than Salah, you don't really see it. I think Delwick has shown signs, but I wouldn't really consider him one of our main forwards. So it is really nice. He's got a lot of talent there. I think the main thing that he needs to do more of, obviously, other than adding goals and assists, is to have that confidence to run the line and to run at the player. I think he's always had a habit that, from what I've seen, of running and then turning back. But I think that comes with game time. I think that comes with consistency. I think that also comes with fitness. And I think we've seen in the first half of that game, quality of the side to side. The ability he has, just getting into that space, driving at the fullback, and the space that creates for other players. His link-up play with Alexis, Gakpo, and Jota at times was fantastic as well. So yeah, listen, I think it's really good. I still think he is the least. I say least. I think he is bottom of the rank in terms of our forwards at the moment when it comes to selection. That's not through a fault of his own. To be clear, he's fantastic, but I think Salah's top. You've got Gakpo and Jota, Nunez, and then you have Diaz. And that's not his fault. I mean, there's a phenomenal selection to be picking from.
Do you think he's below Nunez?
Yeah, he is. I think he is. I think Nunez is probably close to Nunez is the fourth choice. If Gakpo or Jota are injured, Nunez is in. I don't think Diaz is in if one of those two are injured. At the moment, obviously, that's subject to change. And we even seen today, you can play Gakpo in the 3 in midfield. So there's always that. But I don't know. What do you think about Diaz, Elliot?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there is after Salah. I don't think there's a necessary order at the moment because, I mean, as you just said, Gakpo, he's happy to throw him in midfield with another two up front. So there's almost I remember he went to the Etihad and he'd done Jota with the famous front three. He threw a spanner in the works, going back a couple of seasons. I think he wants to have that unpredictability. I think you have that with Diaz anyway, and you certainly have it with Nunez. But I think the thing is with Diaz, you probably want a bit more predictability in terms of his just output and scoring goals. So it was very nice to see kind of just a proper, classic winger goal. You say about Mane, the thing is with Mane, he guaranteed goals and it was perfect, obviously, wasn't it? We saw who won every under them. With Salah and Mane in the wings. With Diaz, kind of needs to up that a bit, but as the injury ruined that potential of getting goals consistently. So nice to see him back. And nice to see him scoring a goal of such quality, regardless of the opposition. It could have been a Sunday league team. As long as he's doing that, it's what he's going to build on that, and especially with better opposition coming up in the Far East.
Absolutely. I think as well, Diaz was on absolute fire at the start of that season. If we cast our minds back until he got injured, and I think if he stayed fit, I said this before, I think we would have got top 4 if we had Diaz all the way through. I think that would have, been enough because there was a period where we were trying Nunez on the left and then Jota goes down, and then we just have Nunez, and then it was just a bit of a mess. So for me, this preseason is massive for Luis Diaz. Like Mike says, I don't know where he is in the order. I think I've said before, there's Gakpo now who cemented himself as number 1 through the middle for me. At the minute, obviously everything can change, and then Salah on the right obviously picks himself, and then there's sort of 3 players fighting for that left spot, or Darwin's fighting with Gakpo to play through the middle. But with Diaz, obviously it's purely for the left, and I think this preseason to get him back up to speed, back up to that competitive level where he can think, Jota might be starting now, but I'm going to displace him, and then Jota's going to have to go on the bench. I just think it's going to be so big for him in terms of this new system as well. If we're going to stick with it, he didn't really have too long to learn under that, to be fair. So yeah, I think this preseason is going to be massive for a few players, and Luis Diaz is one of the main ones. And then it was half time, 1-0. I thought, let's just talk a bit more about the first half, to be fair, before we start talking about a certain Spaniard. Yeah, I don't think there was too much to write home about. I mean, let's talk about Trent for a minute, because I know Mike alluded to it. I did a tweet saying that I don't really like him in the 6, but you're spot on. It's only a placeholder, isn't it, Mike?
Yes, it definitely is. I do think there is a world. I'm not sure if Elliot and I alluded to this in the last pod, where you could see Trent substitute into the six in certain games. And I wouldn't be against that if the midfield alongside him is correct. If you've got a Thiago alongside him, which will allow Trent to maneuver and not just sit as a six. If you've got two in the pivot, you can play Trent in that area, is what I mean. He can't play as a lone six. I think that's my specific issue. He can play as a pivot in a pivot pairing, but I don't particularly like him as a lone six. In fairness, this is all very new. I think it's too early to write any position in midfield off for Trent because we haven't really seen him in any of them. So I'm gonna hold my tongue because I really feel like they have something up their sleeve with him. There's clear that him disputing in midfield tells me that they trust him enough in there to play him in there. It is covering, but I also believe that they are molding him as well. And that's something to keep in mind. Just considering the positions he picked up, when Klopp was talking about how we played through him a bit too much, there's a clear reliability from our midfielders themselves to play through him. There's a lot of trust in him. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, just a little side note, if we get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the week, I will shave my head. And Ben will shave his beard. And Elliot will also shave his head, and that is a promise. And I will make sure they stand by that promise. So if you want to see a bold Elliot and a baby face Ben,
no one wants to see that.
All you got to do is hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. It's all it takes. One like can really make me laugh. That's kind of how you got to see it. But yeah, that's all in all. That's kind of how I feel with Trent. I'm not really sure, to be honest, in terms of what our midfield will look like. We do need to obviously sign a six, but it's been very quiet in the last couple of days, hasn't it? So,
yeah. And Elliot, coming to you, I assume we're on the same page. You was nodding your head when I mentioned Trent as the six. Do you think it just sort of takes away everything? Well, not everything that he's good at, because he will still be useful there. But his biggest strengths sort of come when you give him the freedom and the chance to go forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of losing the fact him in space is like the best, like one of the best players, with a time delivery. You're losing that because you're probably having someone who's going to use him as a trigger, as a press, and then you've got to play through him instead of playing through someone else to get the ball to him. So if you do the inverted full-back role, he still has all that space on the right-hand side, but he's just more inwards, and it makes much more sense. However, as you said, Mike, it molding him. Not to say it will be a worry, but like it's almost like they've done it first off, they've done it now. I know it's second division German teams, and you cannot base anything probably off it, but the kind of worry
would be surprised, mate. I've seen a lot of wild takes.
I know everyone loves a bit of a cry and moan, don't they? But the worry for me would be, you've just said, Mike, it's kind of slowed down the news on a six. Is that they're using this now as a time to go to Trent, listen, you're in the six at Stamford Bridge. That would be kind of my worry, because they haven't got anyone in. I mean, I would love to not think that, because I don't like him there. As you both mentioned, there's a few more reasons, but it doesn't seem just to make sense at all at the moment. I mean, you could maybe, if he's got no legs in about 10 years' time, he's dictating play, it might make sense, but there's so much talent there, you can't really waste it on like he possibly being man-marked out the game because they're scared of them, dictating play quite far back. So I think they need to get somewhere in, obviously, but I'd be surprised, if he is that this season, basically.
Well, they need to move on, because you mentioned Stamford Bridge. There's 2 weeks and 5 days. 2 weeks on Sunday before that game. So you'd like to think if we get a DM, he's going to get a couple of games at least in pre-season. To sort of, I know Fabinho sort of played and then he was out of the team for a bit, but I think we're all pretty clear now that we need our DM to come in and instantly start for this team, because like you say, we've got Trent. That is pretty much the only other player. Thiago could probably do it to some extent, but again, he's not played in pre-season so far. Jones did it a bit for England in the under-21s, but it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it, going away to the bridge, at the bridge. So
we're 2 weeks away from the first game of the season.
The one that 2 weeks, 5 days, 2 weeks on Sunday.
Mad! Oh wow,
13th,
Jesus!
Unless I'm wrong, it is the 13th, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah.
2 weeks on Sunday. Have it. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, mate. They need to this week. If we don't see movement this week, then I think that's when I will start to be a bit concerned again. Not one of these people. Oh, we're going to struggle for top four. We're not going to struggle for top four. But I will
also. I will say
this is taking quite a long time now.
Ben, I will tell you though, I think I've pinpointed the next scapegoats of Liverpool Football Club. So obviously everyone needs someone.
Yeah, I know exactly who.
Yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it, mate. But yeah, I think the whole six thing is gonna go on. Hopefully this week we get more clarity, like I say. But yeah, we need somebody there for that game. You know how hard it is to go to Stamford Bridge and get a result. I mean, not even just Stamford Bridge. I think our last 4 games against Chelsea have been 0-0. That includes the cup finals, I believe. So yeah, we need to get something in. Let's talk about the rest of the team then. I thought the defense, there's not really much to say about that started the game. At least we'll get onto the other defense in a little bit. But McAllister looked okay again. Nothing spectacular, but just assured, and looks like he's fitting in straight away. I don't think any of us would have any qualms with him starting straight away at Stamford Bridge. But I want to talk about Ben Doak, because we've alluded to him, we've spoken about him a bit before, but I think, Mike, Ben Doak, and I did put in your stream that you hosted the other day that he is the new Messi. But Ben Doak, right, he has to be one of the most fearless. What is he, 17 now?
Yeah,
I think he's just
17.
done 17, right? 17 just, right? At 17, I was probably out doing all sorts of stupid stuff. And this guy is running at any defender he sees. Like, he's not fazed. He's not bothered. Like, the thing I want to see when you put a kid into the first team is, are they at it? Like, are they about this life? And if they're not, okay, that's fine. They're a kid. Like, give them a couple more seasons. But Ben Doak, Mike, to me, and I said it before, even the cameos that he had last season when he was still 16, this guy is showing me everything I need to know to he's got a role in our squad next season.
Yeah, I'm more excited about him than I'm letting on here. I'm very tired. He's he's got a lot of talent. To be honest,
big up Shigs, by the way.
Yeah, big up Shigs. Big up Shigs. I tell you what, keep that boy away from me. If he loves an argument with me, you should have seen him on the pod last week. Anyone that was watching the pod, oh yeah, I know he's listening right now, Shigs. I'm watching you. No, but the thing is with Doak is, whenever a winger comes through at the moment, I kind of see it as a Sterling Ivy thing. So to explain what I mean, they both came through with tremendous talent. They both came through with tremendous work rate. They're both very good people. One made it, one unfortunately didn't, for a lot of different reasons, a lot of external reasons that a lot of mental health things. But in terms of their Liverpool career specifically, I think the thing that changed, that was different between the two, was the consistency of game time. Jordan Ibe was consistently in and out the side, in and out the side. He was never good enough to start. He was just always on the bench. He kind of became the Ox role in the sense that he'd come off the bench. That was it at most. Sterling was too good to not start.
People said Ibe was better than Sterling, and
I was one of those.
I think that was to get over Sterling leaving. I think it was.
But no, even when he was there, Ibe had a tremendous amount of talent, and a lot of people within the club rated them just as highly as each other. I think with Doak, my only concern is that where's he gonna? I love him as a talent. I don't see where he gets his game time unless we get comfortable with not playing Salah in certain moments. And I think that we're very, well, not even we are. I think Klopp is very reliable. He relies, you can tell I'm tired. He relies very much so on Salah. And even in the Champions League last season, when it was all tied up, we played Salah. Cup games, we would play Salah more than we should have. And listen, I'd love if we played Doak. I really would, but I genuinely think it would benefit him to do what we did with Harvey Elliott. Go send him out to a championship club for a season where he's going to play week in, week out. Don't get me wrong, it's selfish. We all want to see him. But I think it'll benefit him more to go spend the season away. But
I think they're going to do what they done with Harvey Elliott, but they kept Elliott within the first team for a year, then sent him on loan, then brought him back.
Is that what we did last year?
Elliott... No, when Elliott was a kid, he played against Villa when they got beat 5-0. He was still like one of the young kids.
Arsenal as well.
That's what I'm saying. We did that with Doak last year, though. No, but he was literally a child then. Like, if you're gonna, like you saw, he played twice. If you're gonna integrate him into the team, you play when you're open, play him in the cups, get him in there, let him like learn kind of the mentality and how to be a professional footballer. Then toughen him up in a proper long season, then bring him back. I think that's what they're gonna do. I think that makes perfect sense. I think he was too young to probably see him a lot last season. He was at 16 into 17. Now you've got the chance to use your open in the League Cup and maybe an early round of the FA Cup, then send him out on loan and toughen him up. I think that's kind of the plan for him. It's the same as Elliot, I think. Yeah, I would like to see him. I think we do see him, to be honest. Europa League games, some of these teams could be from anywhere, there's chance for like really good experience before he goes and gets toughened up for a proper, championship rough division kind of thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think, we talk about Doak, just to slightly segue to Bradley. I think that the great thing about some of the young lads coming through is they genuinely have the potential to be around for a while. I think Bradley looks very comfortable playing the inverted fullback, and that was not surprising for myself, but like it was very good to see. And I know it's only pre-season; he's done it in two first halves of football, but I do think we'll see Bradley a lot next season. I do think he'll play the cup games, he'll play the Europa games, and he'll play that inverted role. And I'm glad he's doing it. What do you think about him playing the inverted role?
I'd agree, and I'd even again allude to him into the fact it's kind of what they've done with Elliot, they've done with Bradley. They had him around the first team, couple of cup games, sent him out on loan to Bolton when he came back, and then you can also allude to Ramsey and Carvalho with the same thing. If it makes sense, I know Ramsey barely played, but if you're kind of going to go with like the history of what they've done, it makes sense to see and kind of predict that Doak is going to do that. And now we've got Bradley and see what he's actually up to. Listen, it might be a risk, but if he's good on the ball, which we know he is because he scored a good amount of goals for a right back for Bolton, you can get forward in the inverted fullback role and have some kind of impact on an attack. Why not? Let's see it. But because of the Europa League, it's like such a nice opportunity. None of us want it because it's the Europa League, but you have such a nice chance for youngsters to get an experience they wouldn't have done.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot of youngsters that will get a chance. And just to quickly answer this comment, I'll tell you now, it was me. At the end of the day, you don't know what makes you beautiful. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. All right. But in terms of other youngsters that you've seen play, there was one in the second half, of course. The centre-back, probably the only one who turned up out of our back four in the second half. Before we touch on the others, what do you think about him, or what do you think his options are going into this season?
I really liked him. I was like, before this preseason, I think we done the preseason podcast, kind of like alluding to some players we want to see, and I mentioned him. I can't pronounce his name. I know his first name's Jarrell, so I'll call him Jarrell.
Yeah,
he was on loan at Bristol Rovers, which is not a high division. It's probably not Liverpool quality by any stretch, but again, I think it's one of them where he likes to kind of just roughen them up and get some first team experience, no matter what it is. And he looks like he's built well. He's good on the ball. He was excellent for England under 21s, I believe it was, or maybe under 20s. So I think, listen, there's a role to be filled with Nat Phillips leaving. I mean, that's dragging out as well. All the exits seem to be dragging out. God knows why. But he should be on his way to Leeds, supposedly. So there's kind of a role to fill with Phillips not being there. So why not have this kid, Jarrell? He looks good. He's built well, good on the ball. You know what, he might not even be here in a year's time, but if there's a Europa League season with lesser opposition and he looks good, why not give him a chance? And if he's crap, then okay, fair enough. He's had a chance, so take him out.
I agree. Also, Ben, sorry, you just went on your lunch break, right?
Listen, it's my brother's birthday. We've got a barbecue, so I got some chicken.
Is it? Yeah.
Do you want me to eat it off your mute and on camera? Because I can do that.
Yeah, give me a bit of ASMR. Are you chonging down on a bone? Oh, God.
Nonsense.
All right. I tell you what.
Yeah. And it was me listening to One Direction, yeah.
By the way, the stream just went up 10 listeners when I said Ben chowing down on a bone. So that says more about you lot than it does me.
All right. Doing ASMR.
All right. I'll tell you what we were talking about, Ben. First and foremost, the answer is no, I won't. And we're moving on. Sorry.
Well, hang on a minute. Why have you become like the host? No.
Anyway, Ben, tell me your thoughts.
No,
Ben.
listen. You'll get the chance again when I go to games, right? Just chill.
Oi, that's a bit of a slide job, wasn't it? When I go to games, because you're getting a part-time fan, aren't you, Mike?
I'll give you some tickets, mate. Europa League, you'll be there, bro.
Oh mate, I'll tell you what. See now we're talking. All right, I will say, man. I'll tell you what we were talking about, and then you can take the reins again. Yeah, but we were talking about the second half. We were just touching on the one defender that turned up, the young lad, and his potential possibilities, just as a fifth choice with Nat Phillips going out. But then obviously we had the other three, Tsimikas, Matip, and Joe Gomez. Listen, it's really easy to sit here and criticize the three of them, obviously, and so let's do it. So what did you? He just grabbed the low hanging fruit. What were your genuine thoughts on our defense in the second half? Do you think it was tactical issues
Absolutely.
or do you lack of effort?
No. They're all. I'm sorry, the three of them lads aren't good enough for this club. And me and Elliot, this isn't on the back of this game or preseason friendly. Me and Elliot said at least two of them should be sold. Matip and Gomez. We did a stream 3 months ago where we said who's going to stay, who should go, in our opinion, and we both said Joe Gomez, move him on. Last sort of chance to get a bit of money for him. Matip is not good enough. I don't care. You can't hang on to how good Matip was in 18, 19, 19. You can't. I'm sorry. He's not that player anymore. Tsimikas, I wouldn't mind as a backup left back if we're sticking with the 4-3-3, but we're not. So I don't know what his role is anymore. He played inverted in the other game. Yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've spoken about Adrian either, but he didn't help things really either, did he? So
no.
Well,
and also to cut, hang on, just 1 minute, to cut Matip a little bit of slack, that linesman needs sacking.
Yeah, it was offside.
He was offside, wasn't he? Yeah.
There we go.
He was offside. So, I will say with the Adrian one as well, and maybe this will put me in a bit of hot water in general. That goal wasn't his fault. It wasn't.
Are you mad?
No, listen. Let me explain. Because Ben, run with me for a minute. No, don't get me wrong. This is where they're gonna move me off now. I'll never be back on the pod again.
Mate, whose fault is that?
So, right, when he was passed the ball, right, he should have never been given the ball under that pressure in that area. He shouldn't have. Don't get me wrong. Yes, he should have cleared his lines, 100%. We're taught to play out from the back. Well, our team are taught to play out from the back. The option wasn't given by the right centre-back as an option. And also, if you look back at the goal, he should have never received that ball under pressure. Because if I remember correct, because Ben's pulling it up right now, he's got 2 offensive players within 10 yards of him. Yeah, he's got 2 offensive players within 10 yards of him.
Right there.
All right, the right centre-back is available. I'll throw that out. My fault. But he should have never received the ball in that position. So I'll put that
These
there.
These guys are trained. If they're under a bit of pressure, and I know Alisson wasn't in goal in this moment, but they're all, just go home. Go back to Alisson and he'll sort it. So I know Adrian isn't the same as Alisson. He's not got the same skill set.
He's our fourth choice goalkeeper, mate. You know what I mean?
Who played him anyway?
Fourth?
Yeah, he is.
Who's the thing?
He moved Kelleher on, and the 2 teenagers are ahead of him, and that's not disrespectful. Like he's a personality boy. The lads love him. That's what I think. But same way Scott Carson's chilling at City. Like I don't knock it.
Yeah, but he's homegrown, so at least there's
that's
some
the reason. It's weird. But I mean, personality within the squad's obviously rated quite highly.
Mate, we kept Dejan loving him around to keep Salah.
At least Lovren was playing.
Lovren was cool. I thought Lovren was cool. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't phenomenal at times, but yeah, he was fine. But yeah, listen, defensive display.
I'm sorry, I'm blaming Adrian for that. I'm not. But Elliot, what do you say? You with me or you with me?
Don't say that, because I'm not gonna lie. The one moment I turned my head away from the game and turned back for like a minute, it was 1-1, so I didn't see it, and I was on set of like the whole half. I reckon I missed.
I would show it, but we might get the channel taken down if we do.
I genuinely, I haven't seen it. I just saw on Twitter Adrian Howler. Adrian hasn't helped, and I'm gonna go off.
That was me that tweeted that. Adrian Howler. Right,
yeah,
I'll try to find it so you can have a quick look.
I will say, while you look for that, I will say for those who are listening, I think it's very interesting. In the first 2 preseason games, what we've seen is 2 formations in either half. We've played the inverted fullback first half, and we've played the standard 4-3-3 in the second, the something we're more used to. And I think in both games, potentially it's a personnel issue as well, but I think we have looked much more composed on the ball in the first formation. I think we look a lot more confident in the first formation. Defensively, we look vulnerable in both, I think. I don't think we look defensively in terms of shape. I don't think we look solid.
The transitions with that free back, you need to work out what to do in terms of transition, I think, because every time there's a change of quick possession, it looks like a bit not all that team might be a bit harsh, but like there seems to be kind of a big kind of, oh God, what do we do?
Yeah.
Which should never be the case. Like, and I don't think the midfielders help. Yeah, I've just seen you. I'll have a look.
Yeah, I've just.
Well, we were doing a lot of man in the first half. What I did see is when we pressed, there was a lot of man-to-man pressing. So although the press was fantastic to watch, I'm not sure whether we were doing it correctly or we were genuinely trying to play man-to-man in that respect, because we were very spread out at times.
Yeah. And it was the same. To be fair, it was the same in the game before as well. We were good, but there was so much space, especially down the left-hand side. Elliot, what's your verdict?
Yeah, he should just beat it away. Like, let's not get. He should just. I mean, I understand, Mike. I understand kind of where you're coming from, but you, as Ben said, they should be like they know when to and what to do. Just get rid of that there.
Like I said, I've had 2.5 hours sleep. All right, my judgment is impaired.
Yeah. We've seen Allison do it, but like, you know what I mean. It's like that was poor.
So Joe Gomez.
Go on. You want to talk about Joe Gomez?
I was just going to ask Elliot one question on Joe Gomez before we move on.
I want to talk about the good stuff as well in this half.
Oh, we're going to move on to the positives. We'll move on to the positives. But the last thing I'll ask is Joe Gomez, is he going to be playing this backup right back, backup centre back role this season?
I don't know what they want him to do. I've seen it in the first friendly game as well. It was almost like that's what I mean. But surely that's the saving grace for Gomez this upcoming season is that listen, he's lost his rapid pace, but he's always going to have some sort of pace there. The wide centre half role, if you were talking about Gomez a few years back with his blistering pace, would have been perfect. So surely try him in this now. I've seen him in right back and then like an inverted right back role almost. He's not great in attacking areas, obviously. So it's like, what do you want from him? It's almost like putting Gomez in a difficult position because Matip's not the wide. I mean, he was in the middle, but Matip found himself in wide positions. He's not great there. It's a weird one for me. Gomez has got to be the wide centre half because if not, he's not got a future at the club, really. And I don't want to sound harsh, but like, where else would you play him? He's not an inverted fullback. He's not even a proper fullback, really.
He can play the right back role, all right.
He can do it. He can do it fine. I'm not having a go. But a Liverpool fullback in that 4-3-3, he wasn't even a Liverpool fullback then, though, was he? Let's be honest, because those fullbacks were the attacking out, like creativity. He wasn't that. And
listen, with Colwell off the table, I don't think we're going to sign a centre-back. Like, I really don't.
I'm concerned that will be the case, to be honest. I think they've almost gone I mentioned it in a few podcasts or just in a few games at the back end of last season that the defender problem is almost at the same tier as the midfield problem. And I still argue it is, even though there's no CDMs.
100%. After we sign the DM, whoever that may be,
it has to be all in
for midfielders now. Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I spoke to my brother. My brother's convinced we're going to sign 2 more midfielders and then maybe a centre back. But the centre back we sign won't be. Listen, I'm not saying my brother knows anything. I'm not going to go into who my brother is. But like, I do back my brother on what he said. I'm not going to lie.
Then it's going to be all these signings. Listen, I know Liverpool love a signing like out the blue, but it's not every single one, is it? You know what I mean? Because these 3 have got to be like mad ones out in there. Lavia, I think, is one. I think that's what they're going to like come in. So
it's not to out your brother, but didn't he? Sorry, I think my connection's just.
He got the Anderson wrong one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And I asked him about that. I did. And by the way, fucking everyone in the club was caught by that. To be clear. Mike ITK. Fucking hell. Don't get me started. I will.
Language.
We are sponsored, Mike. Stop swearing. I do bloody hell. It's 2.5 hours sleep. Elliot.
Say bloody hell. That's fine. Anyway, I'll give him a slap on the wrist when we come off. Mike's had a very long day, people. We can forgive him this one. I don't think anyone's not going to buy a foot card because Mike said the F word, so I think we're all good.
You never know.
I need to know who the Anfield talk is in the chat. I'm trying to figure out who it is.
You don't know him.
I don't know him, no. Oh, great.
No. He's a mysterious figure. He doesn't have his own, like, I've got mine. Well, he does, but I'm not going to say who.
Are you not going to out him?
Let's talk about the goal then.
Let's move on quickly.
Yeah, let's move on. Harvey Elliott and Salah and Darwin Nunez for 2 goals, by the way, not just 1 goal. And when Bobby Firmino says who was the scapegoat earlier? No, I believe he was on about Harvey because there's a mad agenda on Harvey Elliott. But let's get into the goal first and we'll talk about Harvey after. So for me, right, this goal, I know it was a preseason friendly, but I was in the office. I was doing work whilst watching this game. And when this goal came in, I actually jumped out of my chair. I can't lie, because there's Harvey Elliott playing an unbelievable ball to Salah. Then Salah plays an unbelievable ball to Nunez. And then Nunez, with the absolute composure around the keeper, smashes it in the back of the net. And then we'll jump forward to the second goal a bit later on. But just seeing Darwin Nunez this composed, I don't know about you guys, it's making me really...
I am excited.
He was composed for both goals. That's what caught me.
It's the first one with the touch to the left foot. You seen that last season is going to be a bit of a heavy touch, and even any like world class striker, it might be a bit of a difficult because we were so close to the keeper and so close to like the angle being tight. But the touch was brilliant and the finish was up. It makes it an easy finish almost because of how good his touch was, and the second goal he has the composure to take the other touch with his right foot and finish on his left. I think it's really exciting, and I really want to see him against Leicester and Bayern because I think he's got a good chance of like basically starting it against Chelsea with Gakpo in that midfield role because Szoboszlai maybe not be 100%, even though Klopp said he would be in the squad, obviously.
Yeah, and Mike, just before you go, mate, 4 goals for him in pre-season this year. When you turn that back to last season, and I know he did score a few in pre-season last year. He scored that hilarious hat-trick, didn't he? Where it's just like the worst hat-trick of all time. But you look at the way people, you know, when he does bad things in pre-season, like they'll clip it, and you know, even our own fans, by the way, because they know it will get likes and interactions. But when you see him score these goals, those same people seem to not really do that. Yeah,
listen, that is unfortunately the way of the world. Like, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen Mount compilations on my timeline already. All right. Yeah. No, I'm on about you. So it's unfortunately, it's the way of the world with it. And I think from a Liverpool fan's perspective, because I'm not going to... Rival fans will do what rival fans do. And, you know, we're rival fans, so we'll do what rival fans do too. You know, like, it is what it is. I think in terms of a Liverpool fan perspective with Nunez, there's still a few Nunez-isms I've seen in the game. His assist for Salah was the most Nunez cross I've ever seen. How's your touch? 90 miles an hour, chest height. Salah did a very good deed in getting to that. I'm not going to lie. And also,
you can criticize an assist, though, like, you know what I mean?
You can criticize an assist, yeah. Another example. Right. Another example of it when it went wrong.
Salah there, in my opinion. Just whacked it across.
That link up, by the way, is so good. I'm all for that this season. We've seen it like a couple of times, but that link up today.
This is true, by the way.
And scored 4 goals last preseason. Well, that explains a lot.
In one game, that wasn't it? Against Leipzig.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've been sold dreams by Nunez in preseason before. No, I'm kidding.
There's something different. I think everyone's hoping for it. You don't want the hopes to get in the way, but I feel like it could be he's trusted through the middle and he's composed all of a sudden. Like
he has to be. He has to be trusted through the middle. I don't want to see us using him on the left, except for on the rarest of occasions. When it comes, okay, so I'll put this to you, right, and I'll put this idea to you. So Nunez down the middle, right? Do you think that Nunez down the middle is going to benefit more from having a Gakpo playing on the left, or a Jota playing on the left, or a Diaz playing on the left? Because we know he links up with Salah very well, but we haven't really seen him link up with the others.
We haven't seen him, have we? With Diaz, that could be an interesting one. I feel like maybe a fun one, but you want like efficiency rather than fun. Jota, I think, would be a bit weird because Jota's almost like what Nunez is meant to be, you know, kind of like a poacher, kind of in the fox in the box. He gets the goals out of nothing, and then Gakpo would be really interesting because there's the possibility of playing him just behind Nunez. So, like, it's difficult. There's so many nice options, but I think you just have to go with Nunez through the middle. Do him through the middle in these next 3 friendlies. And if he does what he done today, albeit it was second division German team, why not start him against Chelsea? Chelsea are an unknown quantity. I mean, they played well against Brighton in that pre-season game, but Brighton had to go down to 10 men before it was 4-1. Like, it was 1-1 at the time, I think. So... Yeah. You can't judge anything off pre-season.
No, you can't.
Or you can have inklings of things. Why you can have a little kind of thought, and my thought is go with Nunez. If he's high on confidence now, let's just throw him in. Let's do it, and hopefully he doesn't headbutt someone in the second game of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one player that played very well in that second half, other than Nunez, of course, who played very well. I thought it was Harvey Elliott. I thought Harvey Elliott made a good display of himself in the second half. What do you think of Harvey Elliott's performance?
Yeah, no, the right-hand side, I said, like, it was a surprise to me at the back end of last season that we were seeing Henderson week in, week out playing that right-back midfield role and Elliott not given a chance. But I think Ben mentioned, like, the trio of, like, linking up Elliott, Salah and Nunez. We saw that, like, a couple of times last year. I think even the Fulham game when Nunez scored the equaliser.
Yeah.
The first equaliser, the little flick. Elliott plays the pass originally to Salah. If I'm right, I could be wrong, but I'm sure there's another couple of occasions where
right.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I wasn't shaking my head at you, by the way. I was shaking my head at this comment. But,
yeah, so I'm excited with Elliott. I think Elliott's gonna got something like good in this like right attack midfield role. I'm just quite surprised it's taken until this pre-season that we saw it because we didn't see it at all really in the running. Instead, we saw Henderson not playing well there, which is true.
Well, he's on his way out now anyway, so it's his fresh blood in midfield. It's fresh blood all over, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I've been a big Harvey fan ever since we signed him, ever since he came in I think he was only just 16, I think, when we signed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just, I don't get why, so many people don't rate him. He's 19 years of age. And I've always been taught that, football players sort of like blossom when they get to like 22, 23. And even then, that's still young. Like, you don't really hit your peak until 25. But now all of a sudden, a young player has to be like an Mbappe or a Haaland or Trent Alexander-Arnold or Bellingham. Or
social media is
like, you have to go. Yeah, and it's like that's just not how it works. You give Harvey Elliott the chance, you give Curtis Jones the chance. Hopefully, you give Ben Doak the chance. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 17, 18. Like, let's not forget, like he was not that, to his own right. Like nothing special when he came in. He scored the free kick against Hoffenheim, but it was only 18, 19 where he got like 1 million assists, and we started to see how good his passing is and all of that stuff. So. I'm sure that there were people there saying, yeah, this Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's not that good. Let's get an actual right back, let's go out and get a Djibril Sidibe or somebody like that. I don't know who was the talk of the town was back then.
But the conversation was real. That was a conversation. It's the same with Sterling as well. And I think that's why going into this season, listen, I don't necessarily listen. Some people want us to sign the right back. I don't want us to. I want us to give Bradley the chance. I really do. I think he's got star potential in him as far as a right back goes, and not in terms of a Trent. I don't think he's going to get that kind of level in terms of his passing range, but he's a better defender. I'll tell you that. He's a proper defender at right back. He's a good passer on the ball. I know you two will do that. You can ask Bolton fans. He can defend.
I've not seen him enough.
I will tell you now, he will surprise you guys with his performances this season.
I wouldn't be surprised because I know there's quality there, but I think Trent is also a good defender. Let's not get that.
Okay,
wrong.
Well, positionally, Bradley is a right back.
Okay, that makes sense. I think
Trent positionally is not a right
again.
back.
I can't.
Yeah, I know. I think going back to the main thing, I think Bradley's a bit more different, obviously, because Trent's passing range is one of the best we'll ever see, probably. So Bradley seems to be a bit more up and down, kind of a right back. I think the goals for Bolton say that. So it's interesting to see how much he will adapt to that inverted fullback role, and he's done well so far. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, 100%. And like I say, there's no rush for these young players. Like we need these players. We're in the Europa League, and I think you made a great point in the last few pods. This is their chance now. They ain't gonna start in the Champions League like they would this season in the Europa League. So give them that. Give them the FA Cup. Give them the League Cup. The good ones will stick around. The ones that maybe aren't at the level, they'll go out on loan, and that's okay. That's fine. Stefan Brzecic is one we've not spoken about because unfortunately he's not been able to play yet. But he's another one that's going to absolutely flourish in that. Just regarding this comment, I was shaking my head a little bit, mate. I'm a huge Darwin Nunez fan. I absolutely adore the guy. I've even got my Darwin shirt on that I bought after he scored the goals against Man United in the 7-0. So I'm going football straight after the stream. But Gakpo's picked his spot for me, mate. You don't take Cody Gakpo out of this team.
But if Nunez carries on, I know preseason again, I hate feeling so authoritative on positions because it's only preseason. But if you carry Nunez on in this position against Leicester Bayern, he does this again. Gakpo could just play behind him. I know you're risking 4 forwards and potentially one unnecessarily getting injured. However, that is an option.
Yeah, I just feel like Gakpo, not that level yet, but he has almost instantly made this system
the false nine, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, I think
ticking through him.
Just a bit different though. If you have 2 attacking midfielders behind the false nine, you're almost having no striker. It's almost too centre attacking midfield heavy, if that makes sense, like because you have too many in that position. So I feel like there's a really good chance for Nunez to just like make it his own, even though Gakpo's obviously, I think he's quality shown again today, just the way he carries himself in the ball, his big long legs, and sometimes you just think he can't carry on dribbling, but he does because he is really, really good. However, I do think a false nine with two attacking midfielders behind them is a bit too much. So I think Nunez has a really good chance of just making even Jota through the middle. We saw that in the run, and he was really good when he stopped his drought. Like, so I think there's a good chance of like it being a bit different, the front three.
You know, Mike, just finishing on this game, I do want to talk about a couple more transfer things. I know we all love the but let's just summarize the game, mate. We went 1-0 up, 1-1. I think we went 3-1 up. They come back to 3-0 or 4-3, I don't know. And then Salah scored at the end. In a nutshell, mate, just summarize this game. And are you losing any sleep over how bad the defending was? Or are you worried? Or do you think,
I'm not worried.
what?
I'm really not. Like, these first two games are about fitness. These are not about these about fitness and a bit of positional awareness.
That's what you said last year, Mike, and we finished 5th.
Yeah, and to all of them, I say I can't say what I want to say because I've already used my one swear word. Listen, hey, I don't know who you are, masked person. I don't want to do it either. I don't want to do it. But I have to because I love Ben and I love this pod, all right? I don't know who this masked person. It's like the Masked Singer. Honestly, I'm trying to get to it.
If we get 5,000 likes, 5,000 subscribers before the end of this season, said person will do a Take It Off. You know the Masked Singer?
Yeah. Well, take it off, Willie. Bloody hell. I tell you what.
Pause.
My gosh.
Family-friendly stream. Come on.
It's a family-friendly stream.
Yeah. Well, you've ruined that anyway.
Said, okay. Anyway, cracking on with the actual focus before we lose too many minds, lose too many ears.
Well, I've already gone down to 13 viewers, mate. So well done.
Steady on. We'll put another tweet out. Tell them we're talking about transfers. Listen, that's exactly what you need to do. Just put Henderson staying ? Put Henderson staying, and we'll have 50 people in here in a minute. Honestly,
exclusive.
To summarize the game in short, listen, it doesn't matter what the scoreline is. There's no points gained from this. It's about fitness. It's about players gaining confidence. It's also about players, clearly not showing up and that being visible. So a lot of players had a bad season last year. A lot of them did. A lot of them were trying to put it to rest in preseason. The ones who don't put it to rest in preseason, it tells you a little bit more.
It's a good thing. To be honest, it's a good thing. People are human. Some players have had a bad game there, but it could. I mean, it's not. You want signings in for these games. They want it done. That's always been Klopp's way and Liverpool's way over the last few years. But if you have a few hires today, maybe that will just be the case. Like, you've got to remember the transfer market's still open. For a long time.
Fabrizio put out a tweet, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Do you want me to talk about the tweet, Ben? So Fabrizio came out and said that, listen, we're going to be very active. I'm paraphrasing, but we're going to be very active in the final week. So, that's ins and outs, right? And I think in terms of outs, there could be one big one left to go. I do think we could sell a centre back. If Matip goes, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think that would be good news, to be fair, because then their hand is forced to get somebody in that is fresher. But then you'd question, do we have the numbers? And the answer is probably no. Because you'd ideally want 4 or 5 top class ones, but I don't know.
I think out of them, sorry, Mike, Tsimikas surely has to be the one to leave because, as you said, Mike, Ben, he's not got a place if they're going to use that system. He's not an inverted fullback. He's not a midfielder. He's not a left centre half. He's none of that. So I don't see how he has any sort of position. Yeah,
for me, it's him or Matip because I think financially. If you're going from a financial perspective, you're going to keep Joe Gomez. Sorry, you would get rid of Joe Gomez, but I don't think we need to go to a financial perspective. I think this is more so about the age side of things. Matip is aging out. Tsimikas is at a good age to sell. It's just whether people come in for him. Obviously, you never know with the Saudis. They could come and just drop 20 out of nowhere for no reason.
I got 40 million for him on my football manager from the Saudis. So.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, this is real life. It's slightly different. My God. He's like, I got 40 for Tsimikas. What were you doing? Michael Edwards. My God. But listen, in terms of transfers, Henderson and Fab are out the door now, unless his dog gets caught up at the terminal.
This is it. I just tweeted we're about to discuss Fabinho's dogs and Jordan Henderson.
Of course, that'll get
you've
him.
been living under a rock over the last 24 hours. Fabinho's dogs have been the latest rumor, and I say rumor because
it was not on my bingo card for this summer.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still not been said by anybody reliable. Let's just say that it's still just very much rumors. Fabrizio seems to think it's just a matter of the two clubs that they need to address. Maybe he could be referring to that subtly, who knows? But yeah, the rumors are that it is Fabinho's dogs that have held up the deal. But then the people that were reporting this have also said that he's sorted it and they're now living somewhere close to Saudi Arabia. I don't know, Mike.
It will be fine.
Fabinho's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
Fabinho is gone for 40 mil. We got 40 mil in. It's a great deal for everyone involved. Like, that is as much of a win as we could get from selling him because we've made a profit. He's going to go and make an absolute wedge, go out and play for a couple of years. He leaves at a good time for his legacy. It just in terms, don't get me wrong, everyone had a bad season last year, so I can let that slide. I think it's no secret him and Klopp fell out early in the year. I don't think that's a secret anymore. That is very apparent. They made dues. It was all sound, but there was a fallout earlier in the year, and he was not himself. Him going for 40 mil, everyone's happy. I wish him well because I think he was phenomenal for us, and he's a legend. So happy days. He is out, but we know someone has to come in. That is the key. Someone has to come in, and that's what Fabrizio's been saying. So, Lafia, Paulinho is injured. The sixth market is so tight, and you see Caicedo as well, Ben. Obviously, that's fell through with Chelsea, or looks like it's
has it fallen through, or is it just
stagnated? Is the word, isn't it? It's stagnated. So, Dewey's swooping there out of nowhere. I doubt it, but
no, I don't think
just
so.
on the back of Fabinho, sorry. He replied to a Helder Costa post with a clapping emoji and a love heart. His wife started following Welcome to Saudi pages. It's done. It's a done deal. It's going to happen eventually in the next few days, and we'll see what happens with that. But Jordan Henderson, Elliot, before we came on YouTube, I think Dave O'Cott did another tweet. Let me just get it up. Another exclusive from Dave. He's absolutely smashing it at the minute. But Jordan Henderson has apparently said his goodbyes to the staff at the AXA training ground today. So obviously he's flown back to Liverpool to do that. And he's expected to complete his move to El Etifahi, as Stephen Gerrard says, this week. So, Elliot, this surely means that if these two deals are happening in the next few days, something is around the corner, surely.
You'd like to think so, but I mean, it's almost like they're not bothered about timing all of a sudden. Like I mentioned before, like it's always been a thing that Klopp wants them in for pre-season, but I mean, I suppose the Henderson Fabinho deals have thrown that in the air, so they have no choice. But it's almost like they're all quite happy. And like, there was a little thing today going. I think Russell Martin said it maybe yesterday to Southampton manager saying they have to sell players. They have to because the squad's too big. So Lavia will leave. So I think Liverpool are almost playing the waiting game because they're not paying 50 million for a 19-year-old who's played 28 Premier League games or something. I think that makes sense. I think 35 with add-ons, then you go and get a more experienced defensive midfielder. Dare I say Liverpool will do that? I just think that has to be the thing they do. It can't not be. But then you have the centre half issue, and it's just like, are they really going to do 3 big signings with the season basically 3 weeks away?
Well, I would say, you say, would we do 3 big signings? Fabinho, Jota, Thiago in recent years all came in when the season had started.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
And Jota and Fabinho.
Yeah. And I do think that the centre-back side of things will be like that. I think it'll be a centre-back from a league we don't know or a player in the Prem that we've not considered. Guy from Palace, I know everyone's turned their nose up at him. I think
he'd be a good signing. Yeah.
I think he'd be good. He's 23. He's physically imposing. He's very composed. He's very composed. Quick. I think there's a reason we've had links to Palace. I actually think Decore's a smokescreen at Palace. I do think we're interested in Guy because I think he's affordable as well. I do. So I think that could be one to keep an eye on if I'm being honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Who did we sell it? I think we said Bella Kochak, didn't we, on our stream?
Yeah, that was one that we did.
Is that someone that you'd be interested in?
I mean, looking at like kind of the issues from the back end of last season. I think did we not have another one as well as Bella Kotchap? Did we not have two? Because we had two out. Surely we had two in. I think it may have been Inacio from Sporting, but then he's still like very young, isn't he? So, but again, I've said it a billion times. I'll say it again. Perfect time to do it. Europa League. If you want to sign young players, this is the time. So maybe that is still there's a release clause there, isn't he? Allegedly for Inacio, yeah. But Bella Kotchap, I mean, it almost feels like if you're going to do that, that was one you should have done straight away. Get him in cheap, bed him in. Because he got good potential, there's no doubt, but he was in a Southampton team, which was not very good. So,
did he have a bad injury as well at the back end of the season?
I think he did suffer some problems. I can't remember. To me, not fully clued up on the Southampton players at the moment. So, but yeah, it's. You don't want it to drag on, but it looks like it's going to have to, really. I think people are just going to have to accept that because they've been thrown into a situation with two midfielders of such huge experience, having the opportunity to go for money they would not have got from anywhere else other than Saudi Arabia, basically.
Listen, it's a blessing in disguise, though. Sorry, Ben, I cut you off.
No, you go.
Listen, it's a blessing in disguise. I think
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
A spanner in the works, without a doubt, because I think we wanted one more midfielder and one centre-back, and that's what we were after, right? One day a transfer will be announced on stream. Listen, I can't wait.
We'll
and
do
I
a deadline day stream.
I hope it's when Ben's not here. Ben's got the flu, or he's at a game, or he's at a pre-season game, and then the news comes through. Me and Elliot popping champagne.
I'm not going to the Deepdale to watch Liverpool versus Damstart.
That's you're a fake fan, Ben.
Lovely Preston.
I've been there. I went to the one at Preston 2016, I think it was. Jordan Ives scored a screamer. Wow.
I've just had 3 years there in uni, so I don't really want to go back.
Staying on it, though. Staying on it. Listen, it was a unsuspected thing to lose these two. I do think that, as I said, it's a blessing in disguise. We get Lafia in. I think that was always the plan. What's different now?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think it's changed?
But what's different? I think Lafia will always be the plan. I do think we'll get Lafia in, but now it's going to be a quick case of replacing
Fabinho.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was supposed to be Lavia and Fabinho. So
exactly. It looked so clear that was the plan, and then that's been thrown up in the air. But you can't say no to 40 million. So you can't really criticize the club.
No.
Yeah. You can't criticize the club for going ahead with them deals, but you maybe can for just dragging it on a little bit. That's a thing, isn't it? Yeah, everyone kind of forgets them. But go on, Mike.
No, sorry, I keep cutting you off, mate. It's my bad. Don't worry, when I've had some sleep. But it's Stefan's the same issue though, because it's youth, it's an experience. A great player and a player I can't wait to see play.
If you're good enough, you're old enough.
But people pick and choose with this, Ben. I've got to be honest. Listen, hey, Mr. T, bro, whose name did I say wrong? Also, brother, I'm living on 2 hours.
Let me do the clicking, bro.
Mr. T, I am living on 2 hours sleep. Forgive me. I don't know whose name I said wrong.
You want to say, mate? Come on, man.
Oh, Ben, I swear, show me your hairline. All right, listen.
Wait. I'm removing pressure from Spotify now.
I know. I'm absolutely. Listen, I'll tell you now. I'm sorry. I don't even know whose name I said wrong. He's throwing me off. But
Mr. T,
let me know.
Everyone pronounces his name wrong. I don't know how.
Bajetic?
Oh my god.
I said that's
Bajetic.
Yeah, listen. Anyway, they're both young and inexperienced. We need an experienced man in there. I just don't know whether, as a club, we're going to do that. We should, but I think it's Lafia and a centre back, or Lafia and an experienced midfielder.
This is the thing as well, Mike. Yeah, Doak isn't Doak.
Yeah, it's Doak.
You know what? Until you've got a real name and a real face, I'm not listening to you.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Mike, it's a good point because the Twitter generation, the football manager heads, the career mode merchants, they all seem to be downplaying. Well, because you're actually a sensible lad, you know what I mean? But
thank you.
He's not on Twitter, yeah, that just sit in spaces and that. I've spoken to him, Mike. You have as well. They don't seem to understand what experience means, and they don't seem to know how important it is to not only win a title, but to just be a good team. Like, I'm sorry, you can't lose Milner, Fabinho, and Henderson, and going with Bajcetic and Lavia if that's what we do. You have to get somebody else in. And I know we still got a few experienced players in there. Szoboszlai as well. He's young. He's just come into the country. McAllister, obviously, he's just had a year or a couple of years at least with experience. So at least he's sort of more experienced. But I completely agree. I don't know who the player is. This is the most sort of transfer window ever where I've scratched my head. And normally I'd be able to list 10 players I want Liverpool to sign. But this time for me, I don't know why. It's the same for you guys. I'm genuinely so confused. I have no idea. I want Lavia, but I know Lavia on his own is probably not going to just be enough. But it's that other body that I have no idea.
It's the experienced body. Know. Who is it?
Yeah.
Because the list is
Verratti and people like that. No.
God, no.
I seen someone yell out Kimmich the other day, and don't get me wrong, Kimmich is a dream, but we're not going to sign him.
And also, he'd clash with Trent.
I'm not sold on Kimmich, to be honest.
You're not sold on Kimmich?
As the Fabinho replacement, you have to have like a destroyer. I think if I'm going to use that term, like Polini was I was likening the Polini a lot because he was like, he killed basically anyone before they get to the back three. So Kimmich probably isn't that. And as you said, Ben, there's maybe potential to clash with Trent.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Dexter says, what about Caicedo? I mean, he's literally the most obvious one, isn't he? But
100 million.
Are we gonna pull it out for that? No. When Chelsea are that right there.
Do we have a point here?
No, we don't.
No. You know what? That's what you call base, and that's that. I'm not going to bite on it.
People already cry about any single tweet that goes about Henderson, which I get the blame for, by the way.
I love that, by the way. I see that all the time.
It's this guy. Every time.
Any Hendo tweet, instantly I'll check the comments just for jokes, and there'll always be one person going, "Oh, it's Ben." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Listen, I just love my captain that's won everything for the football club, which is what I dreamt of when Klopp came in. I would have bit your hand off at just one Premier League or one Champions League. I don't care what anyone says. That's how bad we were. In 7 years, if he gets us one league or one Champions League, I'll be happy with that. And now all of a sudden, it's bad that we've only won everything once. Like, some people honestly just need to, come to reality and be realistic. Like, it's not easy to keep winning every trophy over and over again.
Liverpool came so close. Yeah, they came so close to winning 3 as well. Context is so important, but people don't really like to think about that.
So this is the thing as well. Social media is like, it's diluted the average football fan in many ways, because, as I say, you see what City have done, but the way City have done it is not it's not normal how they've done it. And people look at the money that are spent, being spent in Saudi Arabia, and the money being spent by PSG or Madrid. Like, this isn't. There's a reason why a couple of these clubs get investigated. There's a reason why it's not normal. You take City out the league. And I'm not playing the whole, well, we would have won this, and this. But then it's a lot more balanced in terms of how clubs are run. Like, every club is run somewhat similarly. People talk about Arsenal. Arsenal didn't, because I've seen that thrown around. Well, Arsenal spent this amount. Arsenal, when they got their new stadium, go and look at how much they spent under Wenger after they moved into the Emirates for the next 6-7 years. They barely spent a penny because they were paying everything off, because that's how the club is run, right? Mate, I'm not even getting into this Elise nonsense. My God, I love Elise, but it'd be the most pointless signing for us at the moment. He makes no sense. Henderson has been a legend for us with his limited ability. Let's put respect on our former captain's name.
Right. The thing is, though, like, I agree with most of this, but in 1819 and 1920, I don't think his ability was limited, to be honest. I think he was a vital part of our midfield.
Midfield way, I think.
I look at it like. People
it's only when his legs started to go, that's when he became limited, and that's when, we've got a bit of an issue here. But my AirPods have just died, so guys, we're going to wrap things up there. We've gone on for just over an hour, and I have football in a few moments' time. But big up everyone that's been in the chat. Make sure you smash the like button on your way out. Check out your foot card link down below in the description. And let's hope Liverpool will have a new player that we can all go and buy and use that discount code for, okay? If Lavia signs, I will buy one. I will buy a Lavia card using the discount code, and I'll show you guys it as well. But take care, and we'll see you. When's the next game? Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, probably Sunday evening. Is it Leicester on Sunday?
Leicester.
Yes.
Leicester, yeah. So Leicester match reaction on Sunday. We're probably just going to do match reactions now until the season starts. I think we've done so much content. Unless players sign for the club or players leave, then obviously we'll jump on and discuss that as well. So yeah, make sure you put your notifications on. That's the easiest way to see when we're live. Obviously we tweet out as well, but just subscribing to the channel, turn your notifications on. That's by far the easiest way to see when we're live. So yeah, take care, smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.